So you want to earn financial independence. You want to get out of the rat race as soon as possible. You've probably been attracted to all the sexy things like short-term rentals, maybe midterm rentals. Maybe you got hooked on the bigger is better and joined some syndications. What if I told you that for most people, the boring, affordable, long-term rental is the way to go? Casey, brick by brick wealth, what do you think? Just go the boring one house, one rental at a time? Or do you think there's, something to be said for short term, midterm, commercial, bigger is better? What are your thoughts?
There's definitely something to be said for all of those other investment, options. There really is. But one thing rings true, and that is long-term rentals are the easiest, most stable path to retirement, to wealth. It's a no-brainer. There's low risk. If you are as an average American, you're a teacher, you're a policeman, you're just a regular person. You're not some CEO of a Fortune 500 company that's going to invest in all these commercial projects and own apartment buildings, and you're just a regular person. Your most guaranteed path to wealth is a low risk strategy over time. That's it. And that's long term rentals. Short term rentals, they're great. They have their place. But if you can't afford to hold a mortgage payment 3 or 4 times your current mortgage payment, because that's usually what people do. They have their property they live in, their primary, then they're like, I want a beach house and I'm going to turn that into a short-term rental, and that beach house is going to cost $700,000, where their own property probably only costs 4 or 500,000, or their payment is like under 2,000 a month because they've owned it for a long time, and they're going to take on this huge risk of a expensive short-term rental, because all the short-term rental gurus out there are saying
Hmm.
you can get rich with short-term rental income. But if quote shit hit the fan, if anything happened in their lives, we have another government shutdown, whatever it is, and you're not getting bookings for that short-term rental that's under your name, you just put yourself in a huge position, a bad position. So
Yeah.
to me, the easiest thing is long-term rentals. Slow and steady wins the race. And when you get to that, high income level, go ahead, take some risks with some other investment opportunities.
Yeah, it's funny when we think about this, because I think about who I was at 30 or 31 starting this journey. I was a full time employee. My wife was a full time employee. We were raising our daughter. I happened to have a travel based job, which would, take me out of the home 3, 4, 5 days a week, every week for a year. And I could not imagine, I could not imagine asking my wife to be responsible for short term rentals, right? When I think about short term rentals, there's a reason that the IRS treats it different, right? Some people like to say, oh, it's an IRS loophole. It's not a loophole. It's a freaking hospitality business. There's nothing even close to passive about
No.
short-term rentals. It's just, come on, it's wild to think about. And then there's the whole bigger is better mantra that it's going to end up hurting so many people. What I will tell you there is the bigger the name, the lower the return. And then I go back to just long-term rentals. My grand vision, Casey, was four. That's all I wanted. Why four? Because at the time when I started, you could only ever get four, right? There was actually a lending restriction. You could only have four rentals or four investment loans. And I just knew that if I had four, and that's all I ever had, my retirement at 65, again, starting at 30 or 31, would have been better than most. Wealth is built by owning assets long term. If those assets also are indexed for inflation, because inflation's a feature, not a bug, you win 2 or 3x. Think about the people that bought in 2020, lifetime low rates, 40% appreciation. Like, think about somebody who bought an investment property with 20% down. If the property goes up 40%, you actually make 200% on your money. That's how you build wealth. So, yeah, I agree with you. Long term rentals aren't sexy. In fact, I don't know if you know this, but on July 4th, this Thursday, 6 a.m., I'm premiering a series called Buying Vegas. I spent about 10 grand having a film crew run around with Olivia and I as we met more and more people in Vegas. to try to buy a rental here. So the episode 1 comes out 4th of July, Independence Day, to
That's
help highlight,
awesome.
help highlight that buying rentals is boring, but learning how to buy rentals can be sexy. So just, it's funny we're talking about this today. So yeah, July
Yeah.
4th, 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern. No ads. No ads are playing. I just want it to run. So it's not monetized. It's just I'm trying to show people it's possible.
That is cool. And that's the beauty of long-term rentals. And I'm glad that you're doing that. I can't wait to watch. That's going to be so fantastic. A lot of people get so caught up in how hard it is to do something. And my husband, we do this together. I'm like a face on social media, but he and I are a team. We do real estate stuff together. I know more than he does, but he knows a lot.
Yep.
And he says, Casey, investing, like buying rentals, it's simple. It's simple. And I'm
It
like,
is.
I know it's simple if you know the right way to do it. Right. So people get themselves in a hole making wrong decisions, wrong choices. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I talk to people that mostly live in California or high cost of living states. And because, I help people with out of state rentals and they say, I want to do a burr out of state. I'm like, okay, what rehab experience do you have? Oh, I don't. I rent. I've never fixed anything. I don't even own a hammer. And I'm like, but you expect to go be successful with an out of state. I mean, I can help you so much, but
Mm.
wouldn't you feel better if you had some renovation experience? Maybe starting with the burr. I get you want to recycle your down payment 100 times because that's the fast path to wealth. But if you don't have the experience in doing a renovation, especially out of area with a team you don't know, you got to build your team slowly. It's like kissing a bunch of frogs before you find the prince. Like
Mm-hmm.
I run through contractors and subs, and I'm local. You know,
Yeah.
it's
And you're
hard. I
local.
wouldn't
That's a
test
key.
out,
Yeah.
not test a new guy on a big project. Heck no, no new guys
Yeah.
get. I'm starting off with the new handyman now because my other one legit went crazy. Like
Mm.
he went nuts. And so I got a new handyman that I got recommended from one of my tenants. Blue collar workers, like they know a lot of people that do good work.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, do you know any guy that does XYZ? And she's like, yeah. Found one guy, didn't work out. This other guy slowly worked out. And I didn't mention this, but we're under contract on a new property. I haven't even announced it yet, just yesterday.
Doing the
Signed it
work,
over the
Casey.
weekend.
Doing the work.
Yeah, now's the time, and everyone's like distracted with
Yep.
the election, all these things, and now's the time. People aren't making offers right now. Like I'm seeing it. There's
Yeah.
little less competition right now, just
I,
these past
I
few weeks and months.
I'm telling people the frozen housing market, it's only going to get more and more frozen. Rates are up.
Yeah.
Rates are up big today. I just talked to a mortgage guy. They're up like, the 10 years up 10 or 12 basis points. We're going to have a lot more buyers just pull back because of the election. And I'm like, I can't wait. I can't wait.
I know now's the time. And we've been kind of lazy this year and haven't got any properties. We've, just had some stuff going on, haven't done it. I told my agent and my husband, I'm like, okay, we have to double down. We have to get a few this year. Like I know the year's already halfway over, but like now's the time. Now is the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So
I can't agree with you more. You want to, you and I have been talking for a couple of years now. And
yeah.
what I want people to really understand is if you're if you want a deal, you want a slower housing market. This is the first slower housing market we've had in the last 5 years. It's not since 2018 that we had a slower housing market. Inventory is building. We have all this noise around the election, which certainly will pull people back. We have job losses going, threats of recession. It's like, all right, people, less demand, cool. But you know what I know, because I've been doing this 20 years, is there's a couple of motivated sellers out there somewhere who's going to take a crazy, disrespectful offer because I'm
Yep.
the only buyer.
That's kind of like what happened it's not crazy, but the house that we offered on, it had been on the market for 23 days, which wasn't a long time, owner occupants. And honestly, this is a brand new zip code to me. My realtor really suggested it. And I'm like, oh, I really like my area. It's like, but I'm open to expanding and getting more. So I'm like, now I'm going to go learn this other city, which is not too far. It's a little bit farther, but not bad. So I've been training him on the types of properties I like so he can go look at them for me. Like, I don't have time. I don't really want to go to all the showings. You just go. So we saw this one, 23 days on the market. And I said, it's great. And it's one of the lowest priced properties in that zip code in the city. And I'm seeing add-on value add potential with converting the front living room to a fourth bedroom. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to be able to
Bing, bing,
increase some
bing.
rent. Yes, I'm always looking for that because that's the easiest, cheapest thing to do to increase your equity
Yeah,
and
what is
increase
that?
the
What is
rent.
that for you? Like $1,500 rough and tough? Wall, closet,
Yeah.
egress.
So yes. Yeah. Well, God, the last time we did it, Blake did it himself, and it was $400 in materials. So yeah,
Just
I
labor,
could
yeah.
get that done for 1,500 if I had
That
my guy
labor,
like
yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whoa, that's a no brainer. Put up a door, some sheetrock, frame it out like easy. But this house, I mean, I don't have memorized, but I'm pretty sure we got 15,000 under asking, and and we got 2% closing costs,
Yes.
and
Folks, pay
and
attention.
I know,
Days on market,
and
over, below.
yeah.
Oh, this is awesome. Good for you.
I offered it, and I was like, "There's no way these people are going to take it." But I'm like, "Let's just offer like there people are going to counter up." So they did. They countered up 8,000 more, and I'm looking at the numbers, and I'm looking at the trees that I got to remove, and I'm like, you know what? No, I'm gonna stick with my offer and see what happens because I know my agent's like the agent's buyer eager. The listing agent's a little eager. I'm thinking they have a house under contract, so and
Yes.
we're the only one. They said they have offers coming in, but really.
No.
So I said to my agent, I go, we're going to stick with our offer. Tell them,
Yeah.
there's just
They,
too
yep.
much work to be done. And they accepted it. They're like, well,
Yes.
can we at least have the washer and dryer? And I was like, sure.
Yeah, you
you know,
take the one. Yeah, this is awesome. And again, this is what doing the work is all about. I mean, Dion, another millionaire on this channel, he found a duplex. He wrote his first offer was 100 grand. So 20% below, was listed at 5. He offered 4. He had to go back 3 or 4 times, but he never changed his offer, 400. Why? Because that's the numbers worked.
yeah.
In a market that we're going into, which I'm going to call frozen and even more frozen than normal, because the second half is always slower than the first. This national election is going to cause buyer behavior changes, at least in the short term. It's the time to know your numbers like you
Yeah.
did. Write it. And if they don't want it, fine. Follow up. No big deal. There's always another one, right?
Yep. And it's like, if they don't say yes, they don't say yes. But I was kind of floored that they agreed, 15,000 off and 2% closing costs. And I didn't even say as is, Michael. I didn't even say that.
Oh,
So
so you have
I'm going to do
inspections still.
yeah. And normally I would say I don't normally do inspections anymore. Normally Blake and I do our own inspections. But I'm like, these people live there. And I already did, when we spent an hour and kind of looked at the property this weekend, and I already know like the water heater is not installed properly. There's not like the pan, like that's not connected. So I'm like, there's some safety issues. I know I could get them to fix. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
pay for that. Yeah, I'm
Again,
gonna pay for the home inspection because I'll get more out of them. I don't want to kill them. I got a really
yeah.
good deal, and like
Yeah.
I'm not
But
looking to
that's
like
the
break
deal.
people,
That's the
but
deal.
yeah, they can fix some safety issues.
Exactly. Again, one of the things in the market we're going is slower. And again, you're going to get this inspection report back. It's going to have section 1, section 2, section 1 health and safety. I'm just going to make up a number, $1,800. You're going to take that because you're going to let section 2 go because you already know about it. Section 1 stuff, health and safety. You're going to go back to the seller and say, "Hey, you got a choice. You could get the water heater reinstalled correctly, or you could give me a credit so I could do it."
Yeah.
So you're going to take what would normally be make ready costs, and you're going to put it on the seller. That's genius.
Yeah, yeah. So I know my inspection is going to cost $350. Now, normally I don't do inspections because, like, honestly, half the inspectors like don't do a good enough job, and I'm just better at it anyway. And I don't want to waste my money. Now, for my students, I recommend definitely get an inspection. But I've seen enough inspections, like hundreds, 1,000. I don't know, a lot. Anyway, so I'm confident in our own ability. But I know that if I show a home inspection, an actual one, right, I'm going to be able, the seller will do things for me. They'll go above and beyond. So
yeah,
yeah,
it's
so
perfect.
it's going to more than
Genius.
pay the 350, that I'm going to spend in the home inspection. So I'm
It's
excited. Looking
really
for a nice city, a new city I haven't been in, and
nice. How far from you?
you know,
How far?
20 minutes, 22 minutes. I know, it's
20,
still
22.
close. It's
Yeah, I was
still
going to
close.
say,
But yeah,
20 minutes.
yeah,
It's
no,
amazing.
it's
Funny
close.
how many of my millionaires are more excited about the next 6 months than the last 3 years. Because we all do the work. We all, we just know our numbers and our math. And this is the time where we find motivated sellers. Like in your example,
This is
they have a house they're living in. They put another house under contract. They need the equity from this house to be the down payment on the next house. Simple lemon squeezy. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah.
I'm really excited now. And I like this house. We were under contract a couple of weeks ago with something and I didn't see it first. And I went there and I told my agent, let me school you a little bit more on what I
Yeah.
want. And the area, like it was a zip code that I liked, but it was a couple streets that were not that great. And there was a legit a junker truck, like, the pickup trucks that go by and pick up scrap metal. Well, he lives there. So his truck is, I'm like, no. I'm like, I can fix the house up, right? I can turn this crap pole into a castle, but it won't matter if the neighbors'
Neighbor.
houses are
Yeah.
trash and
Exactly.
no one's going to want to pay a premium in rent and live next to a junker truck. So
Yeah.
I was out. I walked in the house and I looked around, but as soon as I got out of I didn't even get out of my truck and I said, it's a no. And we were already under
Yeah.
contract. And I was like, but
Yeah. At the end of the day,
they met.
folks, if you're a full-time employee, you have a demanding life. Long-term rentals don't appear sexy, but they are the least time consuming. They are the most certain. If you kind of hold them for a decade, cash flow day one, value add, housing market's slowing down, go below asking, get credits, do inspections, all the stuff Casey just dropped for us. Casey, where can they find you?
People can find me every day on Instagram, Brick by Brick Wealth, and YouTube, Brick by Brick Wealth, and funny enough, Twitter, Brick by BR Wealth, because Brick by Brick was too long.
Yeah, I had to do the same thing. One rental at a time. The only place where it's a number one instead of the spelling
Twitter,
because
yeah.
it's too short or too long. Casey, you're amazing. Take care. Happy 4th.